Hello everyone, welcome to my quick tutorial video on efficient exploration. The whole aim of this video is to maximize your credits by getting you in and out of systems as quickly as possible. In this video I'm going to go over a few real basic tips that I use to help with that exact thing. I'll focus on the tools I use and my controls. I'll focus on getting in and out of systems. I'll focus on my approach to planets and how I use probes. So the first things first is the tools I use. The only tool I use is ED Discovery. I keep that as on my second monitor, as you can see in the corner there. If you don't have it on a second monitor, you don't have a second monitor. I'm assuming there's probably a way to have it showing over the top of your screen, but you don't have to use ED Discovery. You can go into the system view and check each planet, and it will take a little bit of extra time. It's just worth noting that it can take, say, 10, 20, 30 seconds to review every planet in a system to see whether or not it's terraformable, and then keep a note of which of those planets you need to go to. Now, that's okay if you're doing one system, but if you're doing 1,000 systems, then we're talking about 500 minutes of extra work there, up to 500 minutes of extra work that you're going to have to put in. With ED Discovery, it's a quick glance for me to be able to see which planets need to be looked at. And tied with my DSS, I can quickly see whether or not it's worth approaching them if they've already been mapped or discovered. Okay, so we've gone over the tools that I use, ED Discovery, so now we're going to have a look at my controls. I have a X52 hot-as system. I do not use the keyboard at all for this. The only things I use is the throttle and stick and my mouse. For the full system scan and detailed surface scan, I only use the mouse for moving around. It is incredibly inefficient and slow to use the joystick, so do not do that. If you've set it up that way, stop. Just stop. In terms of my button positions, entering the FSS mode is the thumb button on my throttle. That way I can very quickly press it after throttling down and press it again to get out of it. No moving my hand at all. Mouse 1 and 2 zooms in and out. That makes it much quicker. And tuning left and right quickly is my index finger on the throttle. That way I can just slide it across from one side of the spectrum to the other nice and quickly without having to scroll with my mouse wheel. That's pretty much the only thing worth noting there. Oops. And detailed surface scan. Toggling back and front view is the B button on my stick. So if you use the X52, you've got button C, which is your thumb fire button on the left. Thumb fire button on the right is button B. And the button above B, which is A, is what I use for exiting the DSS. I fire probes with my mouse thumb button. That way I can completely use the mouse without having to touch anything else when I'm moving around, quickly firing probes. It's just significantly quicker. One thing I have had to do is set my DSS mouse sensitivity right down. I have a high sensitivity set for my mouse because I want to be able to move around the FSS very quickly. And so I had to drop the detailed surface scanner right down. I recommend doing that. Okay, now that we've gone over controls and tools, we're going to jump into a system, and I'm going to sort of go over the first general 30 seconds that takes place in that jump. So that first 30 seconds consists of me angling directly away from the sun. I want to effectively put myself on a trajectory so that if there's anything in the FSS I like, I can get away from the sun as quickly as possible so that it's not blocking any of those bodies. The next thing I do after I angle away is I check the FSS. Now I do that very quickly. I'll show you in a second how quick I do that. Once I've checked the FSS, if I like anything, I will then continue away from the sun for a certain amount of time, just based on my experience. And then I'll jump back in the FSS again and scan all the planets. If I don't, then I can quickly press the the FSD button and get the hell out of here. So this is how quickly I look at the FSS. That's all I require to be able to look at a system and see if there's anything of value. Now that very, very quick look that I did there showed me that there's pretty much nothing of value. Maybe a couple of high metal content worlds, but that's effectively it. Let's just jump back in there again, and I'll do that a little bit slower. Now, because the frequencies themselves are irregular, the grid lines are too dark to see, I use the words filtered spectral analysis to be able to determine if there's anything of value. So using the word filtered, we look between the letters E and E, so ERE, and if there's anything along that little section from here to here, then we know that that's a high content metal world and it's probably worth looking at. If there's anything from A to L, we know that it's a Earth-like world. And anything before the letter Y, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm saying before the letter Y, it's a ammonia or Earth-like, water world. So pretty much you can say anything from A to L is definitely worth looking at. And anything from E to E. Everything else, pretty pointless in my opinion. I really don't see the point. Okay, so that's effectively what I do when I jump into a system. Scanning with the FSS is quick for me. I do it as quickly and efficiently as I can, which is why I've assigned the zoom in and zoom out to my mouse buttons and why my mouse is a high DPS mouse. So I'll do a quick scan of this system because there's only 9 bodies there, I think, and I'll show you how quickly I do it. And that's it. There's nothing else I care about in this system. So as you saw, you do not need to let planets render. You click in, you click out. If you don't have ED Discovery, maybe lingering a little bit longer is a good time to see whether someone's already seen it or get info about that planet, but again, you can use the system viewer for that if you need to. So once I've scanned the system, I can see from ED Discovery that I have planets 4 and 5 terraformable. That makes it nice and easy for me to jump across and have a look at these systems. Once I've got a system locked, I can then look at it in the DSS. You do not need to be angling at it. And I can see the mass of that planet, whether it's been mapped and whether it's been discovered. Now, if a system has only been discovered, then you're still going to get a lot of credits for mapping it. So it's probably worth doing anyway. The next thing I'll do is generally choose the closest of the planets to me that are on my side of the sun. I won't choose a planet on the other side of the sun even if it's 500 light seconds away and the one on this side is 1,000 light seconds away. The time will take to traverse that sun, then turn around and come back, it's just not worth it. So I'll always look at the planets and go, okay, I've got planet 4 and 5 that I need to look at. I know planet 5 is closer, and planet 4 is a little bit further away. They're both roughly in the same direction as well, which means this is great. There's going to be a nice quick scan for me. And then I'll go from there. If I've got systems that are on, a couple of systems on this side, and then a few on the other side, I'll do all the ones on this side first, regardless of how far away they are. The mass from these bodies definitely slow you down, and I'd rather avoid the sun if I can while scanning. Okay, so the next thing is we're going to approach this planet, and I'm going to use the couple of basic rules. The first rule is the rule of 6, which is as soon as you hit 6 seconds, you move the throttle to the blue and you leave it there. You don't touch it unless you're going past some heavy gravity objects which are slowing you down, but that's a completely different tutorial altogether. Once you're at 6 seconds, you can leave it go until you get close enough to the planet that you can slow all the way down. Now, that's the next part, is getting close enough that you can throttle all the way down. And you can either throttle down or hit the reverse button. Okay. Next thing is how far away we should throttle down. And how far away we should throttle down is all based on the size, mass of the planet. So this one is Planet 5, it's got a mass of 0.2. I'll probably put in the Reddit thread my guesstimates for slowing down, but the rule for me is if it's between 0.5 and 1 mass, I'll slow down at around 0.7 to 0.8. If it's between 0.2 and 0.5, I'll slow down at 0.3 to 0.5, I'll slow down between 0.4 and 0.5. And if it's 0.1 or 0.2, I'll slow down at about 0.4. 0.4 light seconds away from the object. And I'll just coast it in. And the reason for this is that we do not want to get too close to a planet. It will be much slower to escape its gravity. So what we want to do is slow down enough and far enough away that we're just past the minimum range and we can escape its gravity nice and quickly. So let's do that right now. Okay, so we're approaching the planet now. We're going to slow down to 6 seconds. If you know a faster way to do this while still keeping a distance from the planet, I'm absolutely happy to hear about it. This is the most efficient way I know, but I'm always willing to improve. Now, that's Planet 4, which is the next one we're going to be visiting. So I'm actually going to be on this side of Planet 5 when I'm approaching, just to make it a bit quicker to angle away and get to Planet 4. Now, as we said, this is a 0.2 mass system, so I'm going to pull the trigger and slow down to nothing when I get to about 0.4 light seconds away. As you can see, I'm off to the side of the planet. Cool. I'm going to angle away a little bit more. Coast in. Alright. Once I hit pretty much as soon as the bar turns blue, we can fire our probes. Tiny planets like this need maybe 3 or 4 probes max. I usually shoot all 6 just to be on the safe side in case I screw up. But I do it in a very simple pattern, which is one in the middle, one at the line, one up here, one down here, and then one on either side. From that, I have absolute confidence that I'm going to hit my efficiency bonus. And I can start moving away straight away. Now, as you noticed, I angled right away, directly away from the planet, just again to speed up my my escaping velocity. Once I get to about 26 million meters per second, I'll angle towards the planet, and here we go. We'll do it again. Now, after I hear about 2 or 3 probes hit, I'll put on my FSD and get out of here. I'll get my efficiency bonus before I leave the system, and yeah, that's about it. Alright, so let's jump into another system. I'll go through everything I did without any commentary, and yeah, see how it goes. As you can see, I'm using the shadow as well of the sun to sort of guide me into a trajectory that keeps in the opposite direction of it. Alright. When we look at our system, we've got 3 terraformable and 1 ammonia. So what I'm doing there is I'm actually just checking to see how quickly I'm escaping the distance of 6 and 8. Generally giving me an idea of where they might be, which is pretty much off behind me. As you can see, I'm not really overly precise with this. Again, these small mass planets don't really need that much precision. And that's it. I hope you guys found this useful. I'm not sure if I've missed anything, but yeah. Happy to answer any questions.